Hello and welcome to this Location Science Thought Leadership Roundtable. My name's Courtney Fingar and I'm editor of fDiMagazine, part of FDI Intelligence from the Financial Times Limited. We're delighted to be bringing you this roundtable today in conjunction with frankfurtRheinMain Corporation. What we'll be looking at is the business case for investing in Frankfurt, and we'll be discussing what the city has to offer in the aftermath of the global crisis and how it fits into the new global financial and economic paradigm. We've assembled today a panel of experts in Frankfurt, as it were, and they represent stakeholders in Frankfurt's economic architecture, investors in the region, and representatives from the investment promotion structure of the city. We will ask them to each introduce themselves and their business, their position in Frankfurt, and then we'll pose some questions to each of them.
My name is Hartmut Schwesinger. I'm the president and CEO of the frankfurtRheinMain Corporation. We are basically the inward investment agency of the greater Frankfurt area. Our shareholders are the cities, the counties of the region, plus the state and the chambers of industry and commerce. Our company was founded exactly 5 years ago.
Right. My name is Lutz Raettig. I'm the chairman of the Supervisory Board of Morgan Stanley Bank. We are a 100% subsidiary of the Morgan Stanley Group, covering all investment banking services for Germany and Austria out of Frankfurt. And I am, in addition, a speaker of the Frankfurt financial community, Frankfurt-Main Finance.
My name is Peter Knapp. I am Managing Director of Interxion in Germany. We build and run data centers. Frankfurt is a strategic location for us, as it is one of the telecommunications hubs of the world, and Frankfurt is known as the #1 internet data exchange point in the world. So Frankfurt is strategic to us, and we effectively provide infrastructure for the digital world.
My name is Avni Yerli. I am Managing Director and co-founder of Crytek, GmbH. Crytek was established end of 1999 with my two brothers in Coburg in Bavaria. Since April 2006 we moved our headquarters to Frankfurt, and since our relocation to Frankfurt we have grown to roughly 600 people group-wide. Out of them are 300 in Germany, in Frankfurt. Our core business is 3D technologies, real-time 3D technologies, and computer games.
Well, as we all know, the global economic and financial landscape has changed considerably from the events over the past year or two, and that has changed the global strategies of institutions and companies around the world, and it's also changed the investment proposition of the major financial centers and other investment destinations globally. So what I'm interested in finding out, first of all, is how has Frankfurt fared through the economic turmoil of recent times? What's its outlook for the future, and how has its investment proposition been evolving to fit these new times?
Well, I think we got through this crisis very well, surprisingly well. There are several reasons for that. One, our banks, thanks God, were not that heavily involved in all these stupid products that caused all this turmoil. I remember very well being in places like London, but also in New York, facing investment bankers telling me that, you know, to really become a worldwide and well-known financial center, our bankers should invest in and innovate more and develop more fancy products. Thanks God they didn't. So we are at the moment profiting from that. We are profiting from that Deutsche Bank apparently in time realized what was going on and withdraw from some of the markets, but I think Lutz is here to tell you more about that aspect. So our banking system, together with the stock exchange, hasn't been hit that badly as in other parts of the world. We have been hit to some extent by the automotive crisis, the second crisis we are facing still. But even there, with the technology the German car manufacturers and car parts manufacturers developed, I think we are very well positioned. And that is the key answer to your question. Having concentrated on modern technology and always loving new engineering ideas and solutions, we can offer a lot of solutions already now for the problems that are ahead of us. And I think companies and people around the world realize that. That's why we are getting out of the crisis earlier than we ourselves feared. The other issue is that Germany always invested in infrastructure, so the infrastructure is in place. We have the state-of-the-art telecommunication infrastructure, we have the state-of-the-art infrastructure for personal travel and everything you need, and therefore we think we are absolutely perfectly positioned for the future developments. And we are still and will be the gateway to Europe because we are right in the middle. A lot of people say they are in the middle, but we really are. So you can access from Frankfurt the rest of Europe at great ease and especially fast. So that means lower costs, lower transaction costs, and this is what people are realizing. We find an increasing interest from the Chinese people. We find an increasing interest from the Chinese people. Even in the last year, we had 2 American automotive parts manufacturers who came to our region. So we think we are in good shape.
You mentioned the stability of the German banking system, and one trend that we've observed is a flight to safety and renewed interest in some of the solid markets. Is that something that your firms are moving towards, and is there a renewed sense of searching for stability in a tumultuous market?
I think so. I think it's a worldwide move towards significantly more prudence. A lot of banks have reacted to the first and second step of the crisis, particularly the liquidity crisis, in reducing the size of their balance sheets, therefore in proportion increasing their share of equity as a buffer against bad events. I think they've also cleaned up their set of products and have run down their risk factors considerably. So in this respect, they have adapted pretty quickly. I think the investment banks have a different balance sheet and are capable of doing this even faster than universal banks. But I think this was a worldwide reaction, of course also fostered by regulation or by pressure on the part of particularly political world that provided all kinds of safety mechanisms for the systems. So I think we have adapted pretty quickly and are quite happy with the kind of stability we have, as Hartmut just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And is this true as well in your experiences in business and industry, not just in the financial services?
Well, in our industry, I can say actually that was probably one of the few industries who were growing through the crisis. There are simple statements like, okay, if people don't have money to spend, they stay at home and entertain. And one of the type of entertainment is interactive entertainment. And we as Crytek actually have used this time actually to scale our studio and have hired in the year 2009 over 100 people in our headquarters. And actually pretty well prepared for the next couple of years with great products, great technologies.
I can only agree. We are in the infrastructure business for the digital economy, as I explained, and you would probably expect some constraints in access to capital, but it's not the case for us. In fact, we kept on growing even during crisis years, and there are a number of reasons for it. First, being Frankfurt itself as a location is geographically centrally located, not only for Western Europe, but actually for the entire world. That's important to understand. It is a gateway to Eastern Europe for the telecommunications industry, and it is also the main hub to exchange digital content, even for North American companies, like the big names that you would probably expect, Microsoft, Google, Yahoo, and Amazon's, etc. That makes it even attractive then again for Asian companies now looking to transport content into the world. With having said all of that, it is like the airport of the digital industry, where data and information gets exchanged and spread all over the world. That makes it maybe even more attractive during crisis times, as innovative industries rather grow than reduce their business. And when you look at the financial markets now, to bridge towards the financial markets, as we all know, electronic trading is happening more and more, and this is being done on the basis of networks. So Frankfurt is getting an even more prominent position in that area.
May I add one simple fact? It's a little piece of data which I think is quite important. Frankfurt is a relatively small city with all the amenities of a big city. But what's interesting is, in a day and age of shrinking cities and shrinking populations, Frankfurt is one of the few cities that's growing.
And what accounts for that?
Well, the attractiveness of the city as such, because of its size, as Lutz said, it has a lot to offer, but of course the interesting jobs and the possibility to go wherever you want in the shortest possible time. Therefore, the cities like Frankfurt will grow, and especially Frankfurt will grow. We're talking about Euro at the moment, and the reducing growth of population, or the reduced growth of population in our countries, apparently not talking about the mega cities in Asia or other parts of the world, but that's key, that the good jobs are in a city like Frankfurt, and especially in Frankfurt.
Yeah, I want to add on top of this, our experiences when we have looked for other cities besides Frankfurt, and we relocated in April 2006. And one thing which we discovered in Frankfurt is actually that besides all the infrastructural arguments and the advantages and the airport data centralized in the map, it has also fairly good areas where quality of life is actually getting better and better, and actually a lot of investment development is done in really increase the quality of life. So that doesn't become necessarily public when you look to surveys across in Germany particularly somehow. If you look to international surveys, it's always very well positioned, but in German surveys is somewhere in the middle field or maybe in the upper area. But we discovered Frankfurt as a place which has, besides a huge advantage of infrastructure and network, also a great piece of quality of life.
Well, related to the quality of life issue and the population growth is being able to attract human capital. And it was quite a sizable expansion that you noted of your company. Were you able to find the adequate skills and people that you've needed to grow your business?
Yes, it's interesting. Our team is 50% are Germans. Mm-hmm. The rest are from 40 different nations. And we actually, we are not the typical German company. We speak English in our office as a main language. All our software which we use is English. So we recruit from Australia to Canada throughout the world, basically, even China, Taiwan, and even North Korea. We have one. So it doesn't matter where they come from. The important thing is it's an international city. It's English, and it has a city which is rich on cultural. It's rich on. If you look if you're in Sachsenhausen, look to the center, you have the old town, and behind you have the skyscrapers. That's actually a view which only few cities can offer.
And for sorry to interrupt, the ICT business, how deep is the talent pool in Frankfurt? Is it?
I find it extremely good, extremely well positioned. There are lots of universities around in the area, and maybe I can add to what my colleague said before. We also run our infrastructure across Europe in all of the major cities, and we find especially that our people are the best trained, the best positioned people to do this business, and they are actually not the most expensive ones. So overall, the business is healthy, and the people are really efficient, and we can see that we get very, very good product quality in our German locations compared to other countries, which is what you probably would not expect because Germany is traditionally an image of being relatively a high-priced country. I cannot confirm that for our type of business.
Oh, that's interesting. You certainly don't hear that said a whole lot about German cities. What efforts have been done on the government side to deepen the talent pool and make sure skills are available at all levels? Is that a result of an active policy or educational priorities?
Well, I think we Germans have traditionally been very proud of our education, and we tried to maintain that. And as Peter just mentioned, our Minister President always says that we have the highest densities of universities and high schools around Frankfurt in Europe. So there is a lot of effort going into especially the higher education. We just got a new university in Frankfurt. They really built a campus university around the former headquarters of the Fifth Corps, the US Fifth Corps in Frankfurt, which is definitely the most amazing university I can think of in Germany. It's really beautiful. So in that sense, we're really doing something. We established a House of Finance to cater for the scientific needs of the financial community. With that, you attract talent, you attract international professors, and you attract, of course, the young people who want to have that as their background in their bio. So I think the government and the general public is very much interested in that. And the other issue is that we, as the city, developed the quality of life by having nightclubs in areas that were previously used for commercial purposes only. And there has happened a very interesting development, especially in the city of Frankfurt.
One of the things I'd like to add here about what I like to work in Frankfurt is the fact that there are short distances. It has been mentioned before, but what it means is not only time savings, but also the fact that you can get together with people of all different types of industries and all different types of sectors and services in a very short time frame. And but there is everything there, which is important to mention. All the services, IT, banking, finance, biotech, everything is there. And the fact that the cluster is very strong, but it's all together in relatively short distance makes it even more efficient, more productive, more wealthy.
So more a cohesive cluster.
Exactly, more cohesive. Exactly. You know, IT works with finance and vice versa, and with biotech and with all sorts of other industries. It's very good for the location itself. Frankfurt is very wealthy in that sense. Cannot easily be copied in exactly the same way.